Connected Canadians, connecting older adults with technology, training, and support.
My name is Sarah. Before COVID, I ran a small bakery for over 6 years. It specialized in making sourdough breads, and it was a very important part of the neighborhood and community. So I was one of the main bakers there. After COVID, that definitely changed everything, and we had to do a lot less and adapt to the very changing demand. I started with Connected Canadians in July. I've been taking clients who needed help with their electronics, and it ranged from people who've never used electronics at all before and people who have, but they're not familiar with the newer systems like iOS or Windows 10, things like that. It's via the phone and sometimes via Zoom. I definitely liked the training. I've never used these platforms that help with remote working before, to be honest with you. Things like Slack or Basecamp, I find them very useful when you're working with a team. I can see these things even being used in non-technology sectors. Like I come from the food industry and I ran a small business, and I feel like this could be actually very useful to collaborate with others. So I think things like Slack is very important, and delegating tasks via Basecamp was actually very useful, and it's something that I can see being useful elsewhere. What has helped is I now am able to speak to my staff without having to be face to face, which is something we did regularly, at least twice a week, every week for 6 years. So I've definitely transferred that because we do need a lot of communication. So working remotely has taught me to actually be able to do that and do that very efficiently by, because I learned how to, do a presentation or, use like a whiteboard and stuff like that. I also did a few handouts to help facilitators with learning how to use specific apps or games online. The games one were really fun. I actually learned and researched how to play the game and how easy it would be for users. And then with a lot of images to help demonstrate, I wrote down the steps of how to follow and how to start games for larger groups of seniors. Google Drive, for example. I now know Google Drive inside out. So this is a thing that I could actually teach my own staff how to use when we're doing recipes and things like that. So yes, that is definitely transferable stuff. I definitely didn't know how much working remotely would require a lot of imagination. Thinking about how the other person who is very far from me is viewing their device, especially when they don't have a lot of knowledge. So I definitely learned a lot of patience, extra patience. I definitely learned that there is definitely a contrast. Some people can really understand how to use a new piece of technology rather easily, while others definitely do not. I don't think I realized how big a chasm there was before working with Connected Canadians. I think it highlighted how much this is needed for me, I think, on a much larger scale. I think one of the main reasons why I decided to apply for this position, to be honest with you, was when COVID began. I noticed that at the bakery we had to move towards online ordering, which is something that we had never planned. We wanted to be a walk-in type of store. And then once we did that, we lost all of our senior customers. I realized that I had to be proactive. So I had to actually reach out to them and ask them if everything was okay. And it turned out they just had no idea how to use it. And it never crossed my mind that that would be the case. And then once I started with Connected Canadians, I realized the depths of it, in the sense that some people may have only used a computer back in like the 70s, and I don't know what they look like back then. So I understand how large it is, because I see the world, it's just moving towards needing to use devices. A lot of people who are calling, they want to learn how to do online banking. That's very important, especially during COVID right now, if you can't go to the bank to pay your bills, which a lot of seniors used to do. So yeah, I definitely see that it's very important. I would say that this position is more about making the seniors feel like they are not alone in the learning process. I've had some of my clients actually be very understanding and accommodating of that maybe there's something that I don't understand and I have to research first before I let them know, or maybe I have to pass it along to another one of my colleagues, the topic or something like that. So it's actually there's definitely room for people in the hospitality industry because it's more social than anything else, I think. I've definitely had great connections with my clients. I've been really happy to actually join the team of such accommodating and kind folks and people who care about really important things in the world. I definitely learned a lot and appreciate the whole team.